Hi, this is Scott Garibay. Hey, and welcome to 2021. We made it through, everybody. I'm really excited. God bless you. God bless you all for getting through that horrible, trash year 2020. Boy, was that bad. I'm very confident that 2021 is going to be better for all of us. I think there's a lot of, we have some hope. We got a vaccine. Lots of good things, right? Today, let's talk about what I want to talk about today. Today, I want to talk about killing the concept bugbear that Dungeons and Dragons cannot be played wrong. This is absolute nonsense, and it's time to kill this concept bugbear. There's this idea that is held by literally hundreds, if not well over 1,000 D&D commentators, that there's no wrong way to play Dungeons and Dragons. This is absolute nonsense, and this concept bugbear needs to be thrown, bled out and thrown in a ditch, right? It's a bad idea. This concept bugbear that exists, that Dungeons and Dragons cannot be played wrong, is absolutely ludicrous, and it's I actually think it's the issue. The reason why I'm so adamant that this goes away is it devalues Dungeons and Dragons, and that's not a small thing. There's a lot of speculation. There was a lot of speculation in the end of 2020. And there were many D&D commentators that talked about it, that D&D may be going up for sale, right? Because Hasbro may not understand its value or may not want to hold it any longer, right? That is frightening, right? Because we don't know if the new owner is going to be better or worse, right? And honestly, to tell the truth, it might be pretty hard to be better, to be better for Dungeons and Dragons than Hasbro Gaming. Hasbro Gaming has done a lot to really expand the game. The game has grown under Hasbro's guardianship, and we have to acknowledge that, right? So let's talk about this. Why can you definitely play Dungeons and Dragons wrong, and why should you stop listening to D&D commentators that say you can't play D&D wrong? As long as everybody at the table is having fun, you can't play Dungeons and Dragons wrong. Now, first of all, I want to draw a border around this. Even people who say, "Oh, you can't play Dungeons and Dragons wrong," they would agree that you can play Dungeons and Dragons wrong if you're harming or abusing any of your players, even in a minor way. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about people who are saying, if everybody at the table is having fun, you can't play wrong. Right? I definitely think this is wrong, and I'm going to try to prove it to you today. I'm going to try to win you to my opinion, and the reason why is when you say Dungeons and Dragons can't be played wrong, you devalue it, right? And that is bad for players, that is bad for dungeon masters, that is bad for the D&D community, that is bad for tabletop role-playing game designers, that is bad for everybody in the community, and it's bad for the tabletop role-playing game community. And the reason why is the tabletop role-playing game industry absolutely lives or dies by the health of the D&D title, right? It is the flagship, and there's not a single independent game that is outside the orbit of Dungeons and Dragons for tabletop role-playing because the market is too small. All right, so let's talk it through. So why can you definitely play Dungeons & Dragons wrong? So here's why, okay? Dungeons & Dragons is like jazz, and it's like baseball, okay? Jazz is music. It's an artistic endeavor, and it's like baseball, okay? And baseball is a physical endeavor, a physical competitive endeavor, okay? Now, here's where we go. So let's go it all the way through. So first of all, if you ask 51%, if you ask all of the jazz fans out there, if you ask all of the baseball fans out there, there's almost a certainty, and you say, hey, can baseball be played wrong? There's no question, right, that you're going to get back an answer that the majority, that might be 51%, it might be 91%, says, yeah, you can definitely play baseball wrong, right? Like, if you put your glove on your foot, you're playing baseball wrong, right? Like, yeah, you could definitely play baseball wrong, right? Same thing with jazz, right? If you ask a bunch of jazz people, can you play jazz wrong? They're gonna think about it for a minute, and they're like, well, there's that idea of freedom, but you can absolutely play jazz wrong. And I think that 51 to maybe 71% of jazz fans would say, yes, you can definitely play jazz wrong, right? Did you see La La Land? Right? So how and why can you play these things wrong, right? So let's talk it through, right? So we'll do jazz first, because it has the stronger idea that you can't play jazz wrong, right? So the idea is, oh, if you're having fun and you're just maybe clapping or playing some keys on a keyboard, blah blah blah, you could play jazz any way you want, right? Let's talk that through, okay? First of all, Wynton Marsalis. Wynton Marsalis is a modern jazz trumpeter. He is alive, okay? He teaches jazz. He plays jazz. He discusses jazz. He commentates on jazz, okay? Now, if somebody says, hey, Scott, get up on that stage and have some fun and play a jazz song on the trumpet, right? And then they say, hey, Wynton, get up on that stage and have some fun and play a jazz song, right? If I go up there and I have no idea how to even make a sound come out of a trumpet. I know you have to purse your lips, right? And like put your lips to it and blow in a particular manner. I've never been taught it, right? So I'm going to go up there and I'm just going to toot, 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 right? I don't know any musical notes. I don't know any jazz songs, right? I don't know how to use a trumpet. I don't know how to hold a trumpet, right? And here's another one. I'm kind of a butterfingers, right? So I may drop the $3,000 trumpet that's handed to me, right? So let's say I go up there. I don't know. I'm just like I expect. I don't know how to actually make sounds come out of it appropriately. I can't make any notes, and for 3.5 minutes I go, and then I drop the $3,000 trumpet that was just given to me, having its value, denting it. Did I play jazz wrong? Absolutely, right? And then when Wynton Marsalis comes up, who has mastery and plays, the idea that I played right is ludicrous, right? So people who know jazz know that in order to do jazz, to play jazz well, to do it right, you need to study it. You need to have some level of expertise. You can absolutely pursue mastery in jazz trumpet, right? D&D, Dungeons & Dragons, is no different. You can absolutely pursue, you can DM well, you can dungeon master well, you can play well, and you can absolutely pursue mastery in actually dungeon mastering and in playing. You could be a master level player, you could be a master level dungeon master. And the idea that someone who does no research, right, and just reads the book and never does anything to improve their table, right, just stay, if everybody's having fun, they don't press any of their players, they don't press themselves to make a better narrative, they don't press any of their players to role play more, or to, they don't risk anything because fun is enough, right? They're playing wrong. They're playing wrong. The same way, if I took a jazz trumpet and went up and played a 3-minute song for an audience, I would be wasting their time, and I would be doing it wrong because I've never invested anything in it, right? And actually, I did play saxophone, and I still wouldn't be able to do it. And even if you gave me a week, I would still be playing wrong because I just don't have. So the point is, if they just read the rule book once and then just play and go forward and never get any commentating to make their games better, they are playing wrong, right? And there's all kinds of mistakes they're going to play. Even if everybody at the table is having fun, they are playing wrong, right? And to say that Dungeons and Dragons is not worth the idea that it's less than jazz, that it can't, that basically expertise and mastery don't matter in it, is belittling Dungeons and Dragons massively. It's saying this thing has no value. Anybody with no skill and no investment can do this equally as good as anyone who is pressing themselves toward expertise and mastery. It's just incorrect, and it belittles Dungeons and Dragons, right? Same thing with baseball, okay? With baseball, if you say, hey, can you play baseball wrong? You can absolutely play baseball wrong. You can have a lot of fun playing with a glove on your foot, okay? But the reality is you're not going to be able to catch as well as somebody else, right? Maybe you're a gymnast. Even then, how are you going to use your toes to close the glove, right? And it's going to take more time for you to flip and then grab the ball, and it's wrong. The other thing is, there's a way to throw a baseball. There's a way to bat. You need stance. You need You need to pay attention to people who know how to do it and to do it right. Right? There is absolutely a wrong way to play baseball, and Dungeons and Dragons is no different. It is equally valid that expertise and mastery exist both within dungeon mastering and within playing. And to say that you cannot play Dungeons and Dragons wrong is outrageously ridiculous. It disrespects the creator, Gary Gygax. It disrespects the current owners, which is Hasbro Gaming. It is just shockingly wrong. And here's the issue, right? Casuals. There are a lot of casuals out there. The groupings for players break into casual, emergent, and stalwarts. Casuals are people who are dedicated to fun at their table and refuse to do anything more to push their game beyond fun, right? Casuals, basically, here's the issue. It's okay for casuals to, basically, it doesn't matter that casuals say it's fun. And the reason why is any casual game is going to have an emergent player. And an emergent is somebody who wants more, wants to do more in their game. And a stalwart is someone who's very, very, very serious about Dungeons and Dragons, okay? And the reality is, I think it might be okay that there might be 1 to 4% of casuals who just sit over there and never move past fun. But it is dangerous if they are stopping emergent. It is suboptimal if casuals are stopping emergent players from being emergent and from going to the next level of play. Okay. Now here's what's crazy. If you're an emergent or you're a stalwart and you're still, this is where it really gets really frustrating to me, is to hear emergent players and stalwarts say that the point of D&D is fun, and as long as everybody at the table's having fun, you're doing it right. That is so incorrect, because the reality is they should know better. They should know the value of the game and what the game can do, and to say Dungeons and Dragons is not worthy of expertise and mastery, but jazz and baseball and 100 other activities are appropriate for expertise and mastery, but Dungeons and Dragons isn't, is outrageously incorrect and massively devalues the game. Do not listen to D&D commentators who say the point of Dungeons and Dragons is to have fun, is to play any way you want. As long as everybody having fun at your table, you're doing it right. Do not listen to these people as D&D commentators. Move on to commentators who understand the value of the game, the value of Dungeons and Dragons as a life element, right? And who will help preserve this industry, this activity, this wonderful, wonderful element of Americana that we have that has value and is absolutely worthy of expertise and mastery. Don't do it. Stay there, right? Like, make sure you do not allow people to tell you that Dungeons and Dragons is not worth expertise and not worth mastery. Okay? It is. Well, that's my opinion. What do you think? Do you think Dungeons and Dragons is worth expertise and mastery, and that the idea that if your whole table's having fun, you're doing it right, and that people should not push themselves beyond fun? It's just, and also that when they say that, they are really encouraging people to never move toward expertise and mastery because there's no need to, right? The other thing I think is really, really strange is that people who are emergents and stalwarts, why give people this information? Casuals don't need commentating to tell them that the nonsense they're doing is okay. They already know that. Nobody needs anybody to tell you, don't do more with your activity. Don't value what you have higher. No one needs that. And right now we have this huge problem where D&D commentating, a huge percentage of D&D commentators are saying this ridiculous noise that makes no sense. All that's my opinion. What's your thoughts? I'd love to hear it. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.